And we are live. I'm so glad to see all of you here today. We are having a chat and talking about several things that I think you might be interested in. And these are going to be things that home cooks want to know, home cooks want to participate in, and absolutely your family that you're building and your community that you're building and you're strengthening. That's what we're going to be chatting about today. So let's talk about that. We're going to be creating a blue zone. Did you know that you can create a blue zone right in from your kitchen to your backyard or even your windowsill? You can create a small scale blue zone. But if you do it well, then you'll start to see that it starts to expand because others in the community want to participate too, and they want to be a part of it. Now, I had the pleasure today of taking a little ride, and I'll have to show you the video of that because I haven't had time enough to be able to edit it. I got back in and I was running late, and it took a little while to get it done. But I want you to be able to see what has been built right here in my community for those of us who are interested in um, having vegetables, having our own vegetables, not necessarily having to go to the farmer's market. And that's not knocking the farmer's market out. It's just that sometimes it's more fun to do it yourself and to get your hands nice and dirty. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So, as I said, we're going to be creating a blue zone in our own community. And I'm Leona Dooley, the Weeknight Vegan. And this is my channel, Ebony Ivy Thyme. And I know it's right after Mother's Day, and many of us are on the road, but hopefully they'll be listening and ready to find out a few things. Now, one of the things, like I said, I have 5 tips for you today. So we're going to be taking a look at that. So let's start. This is what we're going to talk about. And what really brought this topic to me was the fact that we've been talking about this even at our church. And my church is not necessarily as we are a part of its community, but I'm not close enough for that to be something that I could just step out and within 5 minutes, I'm there. So we're going to have to talk about how to get that zone started here. And then I can perhaps share and take things to the market. So let's talk about that. First, we're going to talk about community engagement and education. It's really, 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 really important for us to educate each other and to have knowledge. First of all, you got to know what the blue zone's all about and what those tips are all about. So that's what we're going to be looking at, those particular tips. So tip number 1 is, first of all, in your kitchen, this is what you'll be able to do. You'll be able to start with healthier food choices. Does that mean that you have to take the journey that I did of jumping off into the Weeknight Vegan? No, that doesn't mean that. That means that you're going to be very selective about what you prepare and what you share with your family. And that means that you're going to offer them greens, lots of veggies, and you want to start that early because the earlier you start introducing the vegetables and the variety into your meal, then your little ones are going to love it because it's just normal to them. And so once they get into adulthood, then they will continue. So that's how we're building our family, strengthening our family. We want to make sure that the food choices that we're making also, that they are accessible. Now, for instance, I travel to the farmer's market once a week. And I like being able to do that, not because I can't get the same vegetables close, but I do that because I want to support our local farmers. So for those farmers who open their doors and they allow us to come into their particular farms to be able to pick vegetables and fruits and whatever it may be, we want to make sure that we're supporting that. And this particular location that I go to on the weekends, man, it is slamming. They've got music, they've got tons and tons of people. They have vendors that are set up that fix hot dogs and barbecue and all kinds of stuff that's going on. They have, um, um, well, I'll call them not wagons, but they're pulleys where they pull the kids around and let them ride around through the farm, and but using the truck beds, and they're able to do that. And they also take them to the places where they can pick, so you can go to the picking section as well. So we want to be able to establish in our community, and sometimes that takes going to the board meeting, that takes talking to restaurateurs, that takes encouraging people who like to cook, trying to suggest options for them. I know I have a friend who has a daughter who she prepares a weekly menu of weekly meals. She posted on Facebook, and it gives her people the option of being able to buy so many of the meals that she's preparing for the week. And each week, the options change. So for those who may not want to cook, or they have a couple of nights that they don't want to cook, they can make arrangements with her. She will do all the cooking and bring it to them, or they can have a meeting location where they can just go and pick it up. Now, so we want to encourage those who are out there who want to do those kinds of things and provide healthy eating options to the community and to our family. We want to encourage that. Another thing is that I know we fought for years to get a Trader Joe's over on our side of town. And, we had to drive almost 45 minutes to get to the nearest Trader Joe's. That's what it was at that time. Now, the good news is that because we were consistent and we were constantly letter writing and requesting and making requests, guess what? We've got a Trader Joe's on our side of the town. And so that makes it so nice, because those are more groceries that have excellent, healthy eating choices that we can make. And Trader Joe's is not really that expensive. We have a Wegmans, we have a Whole Foods. Now, let me tell you about Whole Foods. Whole Foods really is on the other side of town. But if you have something that you need special, then you don't mind the drive, because it really is a beautiful option of being able to go over there and to visit and play around. So tip number 1 is healthy eating options. Number 2 is to create a social support and have social connections. Now, and these are elements of the major blue zones around the world. They have healthy eating options that they practice. They have social support and connections, because what they have found is that we as human beings do not do well when we are just alone. We need to have a community of people that we're able to meet with, we're able to chat with, we're able to have fun with, we're able to garden with, or we're able to just play and go places, whether it's to the movies, whether it's sitting and just having an afternoon and having a picnic. And those are options of things that we can do for our community. It's a social support and it's a connection. And so we're trying to build that. And that means that I have a couple of people who I can call up and say on a Friday, we might all bring lunch and sit down and play cards for hours and giggle and have a great time. I know there are those who play, I think it's called Marchand. There are those who just play dominoes. And then there are those who like to golf or to go and to hit balls at the golf range. But those are social support connections that we have. And so that's healthy to the blue zone and to the people who are within that blue zone. So we want to be able to continue with that. Now, I'm going to go back and see who's here. Let's see. Hey, Michelle. We got Michelle here. She said that she went to the farmers market in Wilmington, North Carolina a few years ago. Wow, what a market. She said we have small farmers market in her town. Their best selection for fruit and vegetables is Walmart, Aldi's. Yes, I tell you what, Walmart and Aldi's, we only buy our apples from Aldi's. Isn't that funny? I mean, the big guy makes a special trip to Aldi's for his apples because we've gotten into Honeycrisp and the Envy apples. We love those. They always have delicious apples, and we do the same thing. We go to Aldi's. Our vegetables. Now, I have to tell you, the Walmart, both the Walmarts, we have two that we're kind of in the middle of. And between those two, one has a little bit of a better vegetable selection than the other. So depending upon what we want, if we happen to be close to the other one, then we'll just stop in there and see what they got. But if we don't mind making that couple, I guess about 2 or 3 minutes extra drive, then we'll go to the other Walmart and see what they have, because very often they really do have a great selection. And as we get into the summer season, they're going to be carrying many of the farmers' fruits and vegetables and produce that they are bringing in. And what I found out, it just happened. I like to drive up into Northern Virginia and go pick apples. And I found out from the location that we go to that they supply. I saw all these big boxes of apples, and I said, "What are you going to do with all those apples?" And they said, "Oh, we're going to ship them to Walmart." And that Walmart has a storage place, and the apples that Walmart carries happen to be from their particular farm. And so I went, I didn't know that. And so it was so nice to be able to do that. Michelle that said that they're over an hour to Whole Foods. Oh, guys, you hear the noise? I'm hoping that doesn't continue. But she says she has over an hour drive to Whole Foods, and it's so much better. Yes, Whole Foods is amazing. I love going in Whole Foods, and but for me, it's about an hour drive too. So it's in one of those areas, kind of an exclusive area, which is understandable because it really is an upscale store, and but if there's something that you really want or that you really need, then Whole Foods is going to be your place to go. But now everybody knows if you have a Prime membership, an Amazon membership, then you can actually order your fruits and vegetables from Whole Foods fresh. It's called Amazon Fresh. And it goes directly, the order goes to Whole Foods, and they deliver it to you the same day. So that's something to keep in mind. So for those of us who are Amazon shoppers, that's a great deal. Because let me tell you, back in when we were going through COVID and everything was on shutdown, I could go to Amazon Fresh and get beautiful, huge, leafy, beautiful greens and broccoli and you name it, they had it. And it would be delivered right here to my front door. It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. So check into that, because it may be that some of the things that you're looking for at Whole Food, that you can actually go on Amazon Fresh, order it, and voila, it's at your door. So keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at another option. Tip 3 is that we want to create a community environment to promote physical activity and healthy habits. Now, it may be that where you are or with your family, you might have a time that, say, after dinner or after lunch, or if you're homeschooling, you may opt to say, okay, today, as soon as the lunch is over with, I'll give you a few minutes for your food to settle, and then we're going to go out and take a 30-minute walk and let the fresh air and the sunshine just radiate throughout your body, because the physical activity is what our family needs. And they are finding that we are, as Americans, that we don't have as much physical activity as we once did. And so we need to intentionally make sure that we are physically active. And they say they say 30 minutes of a good walk, a brisk walk, is worth all the vitamins that you can take. And so that's something that we want to adapt. And of course, our healthy habits is going to make sure that, whatever we decide to, when lunch is, when dinner is, we want to kind of stay somewhat on a schedule, because our bodies respond to that and they're looking for that. So we want to try to do that as well. Now, tip 4. And also, when we're thinking about the physical activity, it may be that you have a group in your neighborhood that walks, maybe at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can go out as a group and walk. It may be that at our church, we have a group of ladies that they meet at 8 o'clock in the morning and they walk, and it gives them a time to socialize, get their walk on, and then everybody goes home and does whatever it is that they need to do for the day. Now, tip 4 is that we're trying our best to educate our community about healthy principles and lifestyle. And, that's not saying that that's all that we talk about when we can pull the family together, because we want I like for them to be able to see what I'm doing. So if I'm selecting, say, for instance, like yesterday, we had our Mother's Day dinner. It was delicious. And because it's the weekend, I got to have some things that I don't normally eat during the week. But, the good thing is that, the kids are able to see, Mimi's making certain selections. I was very careful about what I ate. And if they ask questions, now, why did you decide to eat asparagus and a salad and a whatever it was that was offered over some of the other choices that they were, then that's when that gives me an opportunity to be able to talk about the whys, what I've done and why. And we try, with kids, we want to keep that answer as short as possible, but we want to be able to share with the community. So that means that when we talk community, we're talking about the family. And if we have multiple families, each of those families is going to branch out, and they're going to take that information with them. And they are going to be able to share that information with as many people as they can. And if they opt to try some of the things that you're doing, then that just expands that community and those healthy principles amongst other families. Because most of us, when we're having gatherings, we're not just having just one family. We are usually having multiple families, which makes it very nice. So that gives us the option of being able to share that information. Now, I have tip number 5. Let's see if I put it in there. Yes. Tip number 5 is when we advocate for access to green spaces. Everyone doesn't live in a place where they have beautiful lawns and they have access to equipment that they can do all the gardening, heavy gardening, and those kind of things. It may be that gardening may be in a pot. It may be in one pot or several pots that you may grow whatever your vegetables are. And I love container gardening because that gives you a chance, get a huge pot. And when you're container gardening, you want those pots to be at least 20 inches. 20 inches, lots of space. And that gives you lots of options of things that you can put in it. But it also means that you don't have to water so much. So when you water well, you can probably skip a day, unless it's one of those 99 degree days or 95-degree days. And you might have to put a little extra water on there that particular day. But the good thing is that we have access. And sometimes we have to create our green spaces. Now, for today, we're talking about clean, advocating for access to green spaces. We've talked about healthy eating options. That was tip number 1. Now, let me tell you, I have my lunch over here that I haven't put together. So I'm going to take that down for just a second. And let's see if I can bring you down. And you can see this is lunch today. Now, I'm going to put together, I have some Ezekiel bread, which is a plant-based bread that has to be either refrigerated or frozen. I'm going to add on my Ezekiel, I'm going to add lots of lettuce. And I've got about 3 slices of lettuce here that I'm going to put there. I have some plant-based cheddar cheese. I also have some plant bacon. And you're going, oh my goodness, kind of looks a little bit like turkey bacon, but it's not. Okay, I've got a beautiful tomato that's going to go on there, as well as some little sprouts. I love sprouts on my sandwich. So I've added some plant-based mayo that's going to go on top. And there's my sandwich for lunch. I've got my napkin ready. We got my knife. We're going to cut this. Now, I think Ezekiel bread is best when it's toasted. Everyone has their own opinion, but that's my opinion. And most people that I talk to who use Ezekiel say the same thing. It is absolutely delicious when it's toasted. So I'm going to get a little triangle of this. There we go. And our plant-based bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich is ready to go. Let's take a bite. So that gives me a healthy option of being able to have, because I tell you what, I love a good bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. But, bacon is oily, greasy, and it's not the best healthy choice. That's really good. So, I can tell you this. I even tried it on the big guy today. When I gave him his lunch, he said, well, that looks a little different. And I said, yes, it is. Everything here is plant-based. And he went, So the nice thing is that when I came back through, I said, well, after he had gotten a bite, I said, what do you think? And he said, there's not enough bacon on there. And so that was fun. So he was able to adjust, and he'll tell you he's adjusting to it. And what we found is that as we work through all of our options and the changes that we're making, that when we veer off the reservation a little bit, our bodies talk to us and they let us know, you added something that you haven't had in quite a while. So remember, options are good, are always good. Now, so today, for those of you who may be coming in late, we have been talking about creating our own blue zone. The blue zone is not just something that happens in somebody's community thousands of miles away or even hundreds of miles away. The blue zone can happen right here at your house, in your kitchen, in your backyard, or even on your porch or deck. So we have to find out what those elements are and then try to make those changes. So we've talked about our healthier eating options. We've talked about the fact that if you tend to be one who stays to yourself all the time, try to find a social support, whether it's your church, whether it's a community group, but find a place where you can connect and that you can have fun. And because, laughter is the best medicine you can have. Now, you also, number 3, was to create a community environment to promote physical activity. Don't sit on your all day. Get up, start to walk. If you can't walk but 5 minutes, walk 5 minutes, and increase each week until you get up to at least 30 minutes. Now, if you can walk an hour, that's wonderful, but everyone can't. So we want to be able to create that opportunity for you to get out and to know that you're promoting your physical activity. You're trying to do better because that's what we're doing every day. Every day is a new opportunity for us to be able to do something new and to be able to better whatever it is that we're doing. Our eating, we're making it better day by day. We're making our meals better day by day. We're making our conversations better day by day. And we're bringing in people who are trying to do the same thing. Now, and we're sharing it with our community. Now, tip number 5. Number 5 is, we talked about that we're advocating for those green spaces. I went to our community. It's called the Heritage Farm Community Center. And there are about 100 to 125 plots that have been sectioned off and numbered. And people in our community can go and apply at the HOA. They can rent a plot and you can grow anything you want to. And if it's available, you might want to have 2 plots. If you find, I really like this, and there's another plot available. And if you get there early, you can have 2. And I found some of the most interesting things, and I'll be sharing that with you later in the week. But one of the things that we also have to advocate for is clean water and clean air. If you are in a location where you're finding, if it means that you have to go and you have to check with your county or your city, have that water checked and find out whether or not the water that is available for you, whether it is clean, whether it is healthy, and definitely air quality. It's been good because the news has been, your local news typically gives you your air quality readings for the day. So you'll have an opportunity to see what the air quality is going to be, and they can typically tell you in advance what the next day is going to start out to be. So if you're someone who has problems with allergies or you're allergic, like we have had pollen out of the wazoo. And so for me, I am not one who could handle a lot of pollen. And so I can always go and listen to the evening news, and I find out whether the pollen count is going to be high or low. And that tells me what type of activity I'm going to be able to participate in. Now, clean water takes a little bit more. Now, you may have to actually contact your water company and find out what's going on. Now, for me, I was talking to my daughter the other day, and she noticed that when she was watering her plants, that there was some type of scum that was landing on the her plants as she was watering them. Hmm. Now that's community water. That is our county water. And so she called and she said, "Hey, Mom, you want to make absolutely sure that you are using filtered water." She said, "Because I don't know what this is." She said, "But I'm ending up with this awful white scum that is on my plants, on top of the soil from where, after I water them. And it just kind of lays there." And so she was getting ready to check with the water company to find out what in the world, have they added something into the water? Is it something that they've taken away from the water and is allowing it to, that whatever this sludge was, that it's allowing it to accumulate? Is it something that's local for her? But it's definitely something that needed to be checked. So those are the kind of things. We are the best advocates, because those who are at the treatment centers, they only know what they do. They have a process, they have a formula that they use. They don't know what it looks like by the time it gets to your house. So when you see something that's not supposed to be, you must advocate and call them, let them know what you've seen. And if you can take pictures, take pictures. If you can get a before and after, try that too. And but that gives them some support as well to go to whomever's higher than they are to say, "Listen, something's not working. People from such and such community." And if you have a community board, for instance, we have a Facebook page, and in fact, a couple of Facebook pages. And so that was my chance to go on the Facebook page and say, "Hey, this is what we've seen. This is what's happening. Does anybody know anything? And if not, be sure to use your water. And when you're drinking your water or cooking with your water, filter the water." And to give everyone a heads up. Now, so many of us today have refrigerators that have water filters already built in. So many of us use filters like Brita for the water. But sometimes something we don't think about is that we may not want to stay in the shower as long as we normally stay in the shower. So think about those things too. So maybe an in and out until we figure out what's going on with the water. Now, another thing we have to advocate for is healthy eating. When you go into restaurants, look around, make sure it's clean, look at their rating, see when the health department last came in, see what they found. I think there's actually a place online where you can go and you can check the rating of various restaurants. And so select the better restaurants. Don't select someone who has a D rating. It's just like being in school, A to F. And so when you can have an A, and you go in a restaurant that's a D, does that make sense? No. So you want to make sure that you're going to places that have excellent ratings. Now, we'll go back to those physical activities. Do you have to ride a bike every day? Nope. You can keep it simple. Do you have to go to the gym? Well, of course you can if you want to. But if you're not a gym person, then there are so many other ways that you can get your physical activity. It's warm, so we can go swim. We can go hike. There are just fun things that we can do and fun ways to get out of the house. Get out, spend lunch at the poolside, take your lunch and sit down. That's a great place to meet with the girls or with the guys or with a bunch and play a game. It gives you options. And that's what we want to do. We want to promote well-being in our space, in our blue zones that we're creating. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, Denise. Hi, we've got homemaking with Denise with us as well today. And water, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Something that is absolutely necessary to all of us is our water. So that's something that you may want to check. You can actually call your county support, call the county and say, I need a water test. And either they will come and test it. Now, some will do it free, where they will come and they will test the water. But they also have little test kits that they'll mail to you with all the directions. And it doesn't take any time at all, where you can check your own water and find out whether your water is the quality that you want. And it shows you the scale of best drinking water to that water that you're just going to use out in the yard or whatever it's going to be. But be very cautious with your water, because that's something that all of us need. We should be drinking our water, and we don't want anything to stand between us and our water supply. So we need to make sure that we are always on top of that. Well, ladies, it has been fun. And for those of you who are into the healthy options, today I prepared a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, all plant-based. And let me get a bite. I used Ezekiel bread, which is a plant-based bread, whole food, lots of sprouts, lots of lettuce, a delicious tomato, and plant bacon. And yes, I know, those of you who are purists, you're thinking, okay, plant bacon is processed. Yes, it is. But it's not something that I eat every day. In fact, this has been the plant-based bacon has been in my freezer for the month. And I'm just now actually having the sandwich. So it's something that's a treat. And when your mouth and your taste buds are calling for that bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, you have an option. It's something that you can have, that you can eat, that takes away that craving for your favorite bacon. And I like having the chewiness sometimes of a sandwich. And so we're going to be taking a look at some of those things, of how to put those quick lunges together of things that we have in our refrigerator that is very plant-based, very healthy. And you might have to have two if you're a person who has a very, very healthy appetite. But for me, you can see I cut my sandwich in half. So that gives me nice options. I haven't even finished the first half yet. And I have a drink on the side. Today I'm having a LaCroix. This is a LaCroix. I love LaCroix. And this one's tangerine. It's the first time I've had the tangerine. My favorite is the limoncello, but it was gone. Once everybody found out how good limoncello was, it is hard to keep on the shelf. And so my main place to be able to find it is usually Aldi's. And so I'm going to have to make an Aldi's run and pick up a couple of cases. But it's delicious, and it's just sparkling water. So, girls and guys, I hope you've enjoyed today. This has certainly been a lot of fun of being able to sit out here amongst nature. And I've got some plans for you of some things that I'm doing and working on to get that blue zone all set up. So we're going to have fun. We're going to take our time. We're going to recognize that the blue zone wasn't built in a day. It's going to take us a while to get that zone all together. And we want to be able to draw people to the zone. So we don't want to turn people off. We want them to learn by watching what we're doing rather than just constantly giving them whatever it is. Make it fun. So I hope that each of you has enjoyed today, and I certainly have. So I'll see you soon right here, not in the kitchen today, of Ebony, Ivy, Thyme for our lunchtime chat. Have a great week. And I forgot. Happy Mother's Day late for those of you who are moms or who have been mom to someone else, or you may be the one who's just cuddled up under your mom, and you need to look up and say thank you, because moms are valuable. Have a great week. Enjoy.